Huskers back on the field after a bye week, taking on Indiana at home as a 6-point favorite. Steve, it's not all about the records all the time because I had a couple fans ding me in the chat and say, how does a 3-1 team become an underdog to a 1-3 team? But the numbers tell us that Nebraska should be a favorite here. How does your number system speak to the point spread there in Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about the point spread, right? It's not always accurate, but it's very close to being accurate. It's very efficient, I guess you could say, because it's a betting market, right? And they're trying to get 50-50 action, but it's pretty accurate long-term as well. And my power ratings are pretty accurate as well. They make Nebraska a 3-point favorite in this game. Current line, as we're doing this, heading into the weekend, opened 3.5, went up to 4.5, 5. So I do think the move is a little pricey here because once again, the opening line of 3.5 was pretty much spot on to where I thought this should be as I made it 3. So I do think the line's a little inflated now, but you can make an argument the setup is pretty good for Nebraska. It's obviously been a very difficult season. The bye week came at a really good time, in my opinion. A lot of times teams don't want this early season bye after just 4 games. They want it late October, November when they're banged up. They got a big end-of-season game coming up. But I think it came at a good time for Nebraska because they've had a lot of turmoil, distractions. They've underachieved. Not only are they 1-3 straight up, but they're 0-4 against the spread. The one game they won against North Dakota, 38-17, they were a 28-point favorite in that game. So they didn't even cover the FCS game. Meanwhile, Indiana, 3-1 straight up, just 1-3 ATS. So these two teams combined have been two of the biggest money burners in college football this year. Now 1-7 against the spread. So you haven't made money back in either one of these teams, as is often the case. Turnover problems for both teams. Indiana's had 8 turnovers their first 4 games. Nebraska fans know they've had 7. The only game they didn't turn it over was against Georgia Southern, and they lost that game still. Really bad loss. No turnovers, 23-point favorites, you lose. Not a good sign. And, of course, that did show against Oklahoma, scoring just 14 points. But with that said, I think the bye week came at a really good time. I think you kind of have to throw some of the stats, some of the records out the book. Once again, I make them a 3-point favorite. The markets are now up to about 5. Wouldn't disagree with that move, though, because I think it's probably a spot where Nebraska might show a little bit better than they have so far this season.
Steve has joined us for videos across our network of channels, so please check out Steve's selections there, but mostly on wagertalk.com. Get on over there and join us on Patreon. You get Steve's Under the Radar selection, plus my picks of the week, and you can join Discord and talk college football 24/7, 365.